This Michael Penix Jr. news is even worse than we thought. But I'm going to do something different today on this episode of Falcons Today. Welcome in, by the way. My name is Moose. I am your host. I'm going to defend Michael Penix Jr. a little bit here because I believe that after everything that I've read, after all the homework that I've done, after the stat that I saw, I blamed Zac Robinson more than I blamed Michael Penix Jr. This, by the way, this stat that you're about to see is proof that Zac Robinson is a terrorist, and he destroyed this offense last year. Now, I'm going to break it all down, what it means, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about Michael Penix Jr. and what he can improve upon in this Kevin Stefanski offense, which, by the way, should fit his skill set a whole lot better. Now, before we do that, if you still think that Zac Robinson was the main problem, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up icon. I still think that it's like 70-30 Zac Robinson in this case, but I'm going to be the first one to tap that thumbs up button. So I'm sure you're wondering, Moose, what is this insane stat, this insane thing that you've seen that you're making an entire episode about it? Well, first things first, one of my favorite sports talk shows on Fox Sports has a not new, but new-ish personality named Danny Parkins. And he does this thing called Dr. Danny, which is where he kind of gives statistics and then says how these players with these really bad statistics can fix their problems. And he claims that Michael Penix Jr. only threw between the hashes 10 times all season. And then he had the graphics team back that up. And yep, it's true. Penix only threw between the hashes 10 total times. What does between the hashes mean, Moose? It means quite literally directly over the middle of the field. We'll explain what I mean here in just a little bit. But out of those 10 passes, 6 were completed for 50-something yards and no touchdowns. That's ridiculously bad. So here's a passing chart that kind of surveys the entire field. Do you see where all those, blue lines are coming out? Look straight ahead, straight forward. Those lines that you see, those little white lines in the middle of the field, those are the hashes. So how many times did he throw between the hashes? 10 times total, the entire season. This proves to me that Zac Robinson refused to do anything that a normal offensive coordinator would do, and all the best offensive coordinators do their damage over the middle of the field, between the hashes. It's a pro-style offense for a reason. Zac Robinson ran a gimmicky, college-style, pistol offense, shotgun offense that, quite frankly, is made for college kids. It's not made for the NFL. At least his version of it wasn't made for the NFL. But again, Penix is not absolved of all blame. Like I said, this is not a 99-1% Penix problem versus Z-Rob and the vice versa. Penix's bad throw percentage was second worst in the NFL among qualifying quarterbacks. 24.2%. That is egregiously bad. The only player that was worse, by the way, was Brady Cook of the New York Jets. And I'm sure you're wondering, where does that rank compared to the rest of the NFL? Well, the league average for bad throw percentage, 16.1%. Penix was 8% higher than that. Well, Moose, that is an unfair characterization. It's an unfair statistic. Michael Penix Jr. had a really bad offensive line. Well, did he? Because Penix was only pressured 50 times. Granted, he got injured in week 10, week 11, whichever one it was against the Panthers. That ranked 36th in pressures faced. And Spencer Rattler was one more with 37. And Carson Wentz was actually a little bit less than that. I think I might have done that incorrectly. Either way, I know that Penix sat at 50th, or 50 pressures faced, and that was 36th in the NFL. So the offensive quarterback, take two. The offensive coordinator and quarterback matchup between Michael Penix Jr. and Zac Robinson was a match made in hell. How many times did I tell you over the course of the season when I was hosting the games and making the videos that this is not just a Penix issue, this is not just a Zac Robinson issue. This is a combination of the two. They're not right for each other. What Zac Robinson wants to do with his offense was take away what Michael Penix Jr. was good at. And trust me, we'll touch on all of that coming up here in the back half of this episode. My apologies. So coming up next, I'm going to tell you why Michael Penix Jr. can be fixed. He can be. He can be fixed under Kevin Stefanski. And I do believe that if he is healthy and ready to go week one, he is going to be your starter week one. But I will tell you also that you have to do three things. There is a three-pronged approach to making sure that you get Michael Penix Jr.'s game back on track. Before we do that, got to tell you about our friends over at Mars Men. I turned 30 years old yesterday. Was a weird thing to say out loud, and an even weirder statistic. Did you know that when guys turn 30 years old, their testosterone starts to naturally decline, about 1% every single year after 30 years old, which is why if you want to unlock usable testosterone the natural way, you got to do it with Mars Men. 8 natural clinically dosed ingredients that support healthy T levels, energy and stamina, including vitamin D, zinc, boron, and more. It is made in the United States and it's third-party tested. You also get a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there is little to no risk. Worst-case scenario, you don't absolutely love it, and you get your money back. But over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website and see for yourself. So for a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. It is a perfect way to kick off the new year strong. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about us? Please support our show and let them know that Moose from Falcons Today sent you. So if you were wondering, how on earth is Kevin Stefanski going to fix MPJ? Well, here's where it starts. The new Falcons head coach loves to run wide zone concept. It's what quite literally his offense is built on. Now, here's the good news. Atlanta last year ranked 5th in yards per carry in zone concepts already with Bijan Robinson. They also scored 12 touchdowns via that same zone concept, which was second most in the NFL. So where the Falcons already had success, Kevin Stefanski wants to kind of lean and dig into it, which is excellent. Lean into what you do well, eliminate the stuff that you do poorly. But like I told you, MPJ is not exempt from blame. He is not absolved of his wrongdoings. But there is a way to fix this, to get it back on track. Number one, get him to stay calm against the blitz. How many times have I said on this exact channel, in this exact format, with this exact chart, Penix was the worst last year against the blitz. Against pressure faced, he had the worst bad throw percentage. It was awful, guys. Awful. And he didn't even face the most amount of pressure. He didn't. You had guys like Justin Herbert who were facing it 30% of the time he dropped back. Penix was only around 17%. So this is where navigating the pocket becomes even more important. The ability to identify pressure as it's coming along and move up, move left, move right. That pocket awareness, that pocket comfortability is something that Michael Penix Jr., as much as he is a pocket passing quarterback, has to get better at. There's no doubt. Because when you look at him against the pressure, his completion percentage, excuse me, against pressurized throws. So how many times he faced pressure, what was his completion percentage? 43%. Horrible. Absolutely atrocious. His yards per attempt was also amongst the worst in the league at 5.6 yards per attempt. And he took 13 sacks when facing that pressure. So all three of these things indicate that he's either panicking when he sees it, makes a bad throw, or he's taking a sack. It's not good enough. Number 2 in the improvement areas game. Build the deep ball confidence. The one area that he was lauded for coming out of Washington was his ability to throw the ball downfield. And that was also taken away from him by Zac Robinson. Thank you, Z-Rob, for ruining Michael Penix Jr.'s basically rookie year starting. He only completed 29% of his passes with air yards over 20. So in passes that traveled more than 20 yards through the air, he completed 29% of his passes. Now, notably, you're not going to get a player that completes 70% of those, or 80% of those, or 65% of those. You usually want to be right around 50% in this characteristic and in this statistic here. But 29% is far too low. So part of that is because you didn't do it nearly enough for him to get comfortable in it, and he just wasn't connecting on him. Overthrows constantly. This is also indicative of getting more weapons. Get someone that can run those deep routes. Get someone that can stretch the field. Get someone outside of Drake London who can actually push the ball down the field. Darnell Mooney was supposed to be that. He got injured at the beginning of the year and never was quite the same. Outside of Darnell Mooney, it's a bunch of sludge in terms of wide receiver talent. Casey Washington was hyped up by Raheem Morris. Oh, he's going to be so excellent. Non-factor. Kaderil Hodge, well, he's a special teams guy. Moose, non-factor. David Sills became your wide receiver 3. David Sills. If I'm saying that's your wide receiver 3, that's a problem, guys. And speaking of 3, the third and final improvement area. Get more under center. You've heard me beat this dead horse a million times, but now I've got more numbers to back it up. If we take a look at the amount of passes that these quarterbacks took with play action, which pretty much is almost entirely within under center play style, if that makes sense. So you almost exclusively have to be under center to use play action correctly. Matthew Stafford took 207 passing attempts with play action. Jared Goff, who's another big play action guy, 160 snaps. Michael Penix Jr. snaps in play action, took 42. Again, cut short because of his time away from the team with his injury, but there was no way he was going to get to 207. No shot in hell. This is a must-do if you are Kevin Stefanski. This has got to be priority number 1. You have got to transform Michael Penix Jr. into a legitimate pro-style quarterback. And if that means inching its way along throughout the season, so be it. If your solution is to develop Michael Penix Jr., develop him. It doesn't come overnight. But you've got to make the commitment to not only him, but to doing things the right way. Which is why my confidence right now is, honestly, 50-50. I could see this going either way. I could see this going completely sideways and realizing MPJ's not the guy. I could easily just as well see it saying, all we needed was someone who understands the quarterback position to get this done the right way. So that's my episode today. All about Michael, all about Penix, all about Junior, all about quarterbacks. I love these types of episodes because it really allows me to get into my bag. So if you're a Falcons fan that loves this type of stuff, make sure you hit subscribe, like the video, and as always, rise up and be cool.